Hello, Alton from MicroGrinder.com here to do a review and quick overview of Poker Tracker 4. So many of these that are out there getting in poker and you're becoming more serious with the game, you're looking to invest and purchase into a HUD. So there are two main options for a majority of the major poker sites, and that's Poker Tracker 4 or Hold'em Manager 2. So today I'm going to talk a bit about Poker Tracker 4 and its features and why I like it. So this is, I would say, would be my poker tracking software database system and HUD of choice if I play it on PokerStars or some of the other websites. Unfortunately, I play on Bovada, and so I am stuck with Hold'em Indicator. Hey, you know what? That's okay. It works great there. It's the only HUD that's supported. But if I played on some of these other bigger networks that supported Poker Tracker 4, I definitely would have purchased Poker Tracker 4 by now. So let's first talk about the price tag. Let me go ahead and scroll that in over here. So what you notice is the price ranges from $60 up to $160. So for us that play the small stakes or micros, $60 is I think a really good price point for us because it gets us the features that we need at a really affordable price. We're going to see a really good positive return on our investment fairly quickly. In regards to the functionality, you'll notice that there's lots of functionality in regards to Poker Tracker 4 itself. I'm not going to talk about everything, but I'm going to talk about some of them. And before I bust off this table over here, I have a free roll up and running on America's Card Room. I've been sitting out, not playing it. So I have the HUD up and running. I do have a trial version up and running, but that's okay. It looks like I'm going to be jamming here with under 10 big blinds. But here's the HUD stat, the basic HUD stat here. What you notice is that you can adjust the profiles by clicking here. And it has default profiles, a tournament. There's all sorts of different tournament stats here. And with everybody jamming in here, I'm actually just going to fold my nines because I'm not here to win money. I'm here just to demo this HUD stat itself. And let me go ahead and it is unlocked. But let me go ahead and switch some of these different profiles. So there's an Omaha one by default. There is a classic Poker Tracker 3 tournament stats by default. And what you'll notice is that my name is over here. So let me go ahead and seat me here so these are all matched up. And there is also a professional tournament HUD stat where you're going to get lots of different stats on each player as well. And if you're playing a cash game, there's going to be different profiles as well. We'll just go back to the default tournament HUD stat here. And so these are for the tournaments. In regards to cash games, you're going to have your own different HUD stats for cash games as well. And you're going to have Harrington Advanced, you're going to have Basic, and you can create your own. So we'll talk about that as well. But the HUD itself is fairly basic. Lots of, in regards to these basic profiles here. But in regards to making your own customized HUD, there's lots of functionality in that, and you can make a very personalized and very detailed HUD. Now what you'll notice here, for those of you that have never used Poker Tracker, if I click on here, we get a pop-up. So if you're interested in looking at detailed stats on a player, yes, we only have the basic ones up here, but we have this pop-up here, and I can look at a wide array of stats. So I can look at some basic pre-flop stats, I can look at some flop stats, and if I want to look at tons of different types of different flop stats here, I can click on here, and it'll give me all the different details on the flop stats. I can look at turn stats as well, and river stats. So there's lots of detailed analysis going on the back end here on the database that's really running this HUD. So the great thing about both Poker Tracker 4 and Hold'em Manager 2 is that you have this functionality. You're not going to get this with something like Hold'em Indicator or some of the free HUDs out there, such as the HUD that you can get with Free Poker Database. So just be aware of that. And let me go ahead and click out of there. Now, in regards to the HUD itself, you can go ahead and tweak with some of these other settings in here, but I'm not going to get into it. just be aware that you have all these basic profiles, and you can go ahead if you have your own tournament setting set up here as a profile that you created in PokerTracker 4. You can use that as well. So let's go ahead and bring this out of here. And let's talk about the system itself. So I'm not going to get into tons of details in regards to the system itself, and hopefully I don't bust out of this tournament. I'm actually just got pocket queens. We'll throw it in here. Just fun to see. Let's see if this holds up or not, if anybody's going to call me with an ace-x type of hand. Oh, I expect one of these players are probably going to call here. Unfortunately, everybody folds. So anyways, that was my fun little 5 seconds there with that. First hand I've played for the entire tournament, so it's quite funny. So let's go ahead and talk about this. So you can have it auto configure the different sites that you play on. So for example, Party Poker and so forth. You can get it in here. You can click configure here, and I believe if it's installed in your system, it's going to try to auto configure it. If not, you can manually configure it yourself. So yeah, for example, you can auto detect. And for example, it says here, unable to locate Party Poker. I do have the Winning Poker Network on here for America's Card Room, but that's it. I do use this for my Bovada, so I have a converter where I can import my Bovada hand histories into here, but it's going to show up as PokerStar hands. Now let's go ahead and let's talk about what you're really interested in looking at here. Is you're really interested in looking at the stats and doing analysis on those stats when you're in PokerTracker 4. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Alright, so I clicked on the View Stats area, and by default, it popped up in the graphs. This may have been where I closed it out, but let's go ahead and talk about some of the basic features on here, which I think are great. So it does have your graphing functionality here, and it's very detailed. I'm not going to talk about all this detailed information here yet. I'll talk about that in a bit. I just want to kind of scroll through here. It has a functionality where you can create reports based upon tons of different detailed information and filters and settings that you choose, and it'll output your own custom reports. It has a leaking tracker functionality in here as well, which I think is great. The way that this works is that you tell it to run an analysis based upon your filters that you have in here and your settings up here, and it'll tell you where it thinks that you have leaks in your game by analyzing and data mining your database and reviewing your stats. It has different areas in here where it thinks that these are proper areas for you to be in if you're a good player, and if you're outside a range of a proper area, for example, for the VPIP stats at 6 max, if you're outside a specific range of settings and percentages, then it's going to tell you if it thinks it's too low or it's too high and kind of give you some information on how to improve that. You can also look at your statistics. So for example, you can look at your basic statistics without any filters and with all sorts of different types of HUD stats. It'll also give you the opportunity to look at your hands here. For example, these are the most recent 100 hands I imported into here, and you can look at these and you can click on them as well, and you can look at them and look at the details on how to play it out, or you can open up the replayer as well, and you can do the replayer on PokerTracker as well. So lots of great functionality in here in regards to PokerTracker 4 and what you can do. And then you can click here on the Results tab. Again, the Results tab, I kind of think of this as like your dashboard, and this is really what pops up at first. So, basic stats, how much you've won, how many hands that you've played, how many hands that you've won, sessions, your overall win percentage and so forth, and then also some of the latest sessions as well. And sorry, not latest sessions, but based upon the different stakes, how you've won and how well you've did. So for example, I took a shot at 25 NL for 2,500 hands, and I'm down roughly just under 3 buy-ins. If we look at a 10 NL regular 6 max, I'm doing quite well. So you can look at it broken down based upon the different stakes that you're playing. Now let's go ahead and talk about these filters because there's these filters and information on each different tab here, and you'll notice that they're on pretty much all of them. The reports is entirely different, but for the most part, they are fairly the same on each one of them. Now let's go ahead and just talk about the filters themselves. For example, let's say I just wanted to look at all Hold'em games. This is pretty much all that I play, so it's going to just go ahead and only pop up the Hold'em games. If you want to look at specific dates, you can do that. You can do specific dates, you can do specific months, you can do years, you can do, since a specific date on or before a date, or you can do a range of dates, so it's really up to you. You can base it upon the different stakes, so if I just wanted to look at all 10 and L6 max games that I played, I can click here, and it's going to show that. I can also look at things like the type of games, if I was playing a fixed limit game, or if I was playing a pot limit game, such as PLO, I could do that as well. And then I can also do some more advanced filters in addition to this. So for example, let's click here. If we click on more filters, I think this is a really great feature. And for those of you that are really looking to do a database analysis and deep dive on the hands that you played and how those hands were played out to improve your game, this is a great feature that Poker Tracker has, and this is why I really love this software. So for example, let's say I wanted to look at all hands where I had aces, kings, and ace king, and it was a 3-bet pot pre-flop. So what I can do is, for example, let's say I only wanted to look at 10 and L as well. So let's go ahead and say, let's say it's only no limit games. Let's say it's only 6 max games, so that would be short-handed stakes. And let's turn this filter on. Let's say it's only 10 and L 6 max. 6 max fast would be your speed variant games. I do play some of those, but let's say I only want to look at regular 6 max. So let's go ahead and add that to the filter. And let's add some more filters on here. So you'll notice I added that onto the filter, and I can add some more things. If I wanted to, I could look at different dates. Let's go look at games and bet types. And I believe I already added those filters, so I think those are going to be all the same. Let's go look in hand details here. Let's go ahead and scroll down and see if there's anything I want to add here. There's nothing I want to add here. Now you can look at session details in regards to how well you did, how well you won or lost. You can put those in there as well, but I'm not interested in looking at any particular sessions. So we'll go down to hand values. So let's go ahead and talk about hold cards range selection. So let's go ahead and say for Hold'em that I either had aces or kings or ace king. Go ahead and add that to the filter, and we'll add another filter. And let's talk about, we're not interested in looking at board texture because we're looking at pre-flop only. So we're not going to talk about board texture, so we're not going to add any filters in here. Let's talk about actions and opportunities, and we'll talk about pre-flop. And so we will talk about where there were pre-flop raises and there's any 3-bet. And let's add that to the filter. We'll save this filter, and what you'll notice is, I'll just say this, I'll leave this quick filter 1, which is fine. And we will apply this filter, and you'll notice that my filter is right here. So any game that was 10 and L6 max, stakes were no limit, and they were all short-handed games, meaning they're 6 max, and I either had aces, kings, or ace king, and raised pre-flop was a 3-bet, meaning either I 3-bet or somebody else 3-bet pre-flop. And it'll go ahead and show me my stats here and how well I did. Now, I didn't include some of the other graph settings here, so let me go ahead and click here to show you the showdown and non-showdown. So for example, we can go ahead and look at our showdown and non-showdown here as well. So a lot of people are interested in looking at both their showdown and non-showdown winnings. So I thought I would include that as well here. So that's the basic graphing feature, and I think it's really great in regards to adding these filters on here because you can get some really detailed information. Now we can also take this information and let's go ahead and look at some reports. I don't have any reports in here as well, but let's say I wanted to create a new report, and we'll just call it a player report. Now let's go ahead and just click finish. and it's just going to be based upon hero. Now what you'll notice down here is that my filter is already applied. So for hands that I played with 3-bet preflop, aces, kings, raise, king, I have won a total of $63.99 over 109 hands. Now let's go ahead and say I wanted to add in some more stats here. Well, I can go ahead and click in here, and there's stats based upon all sorts of different HUD stat details. They're broken down into categories, but if you want to see all of them, you can just click here, and I'll just let it scroll down, and what you'll notice is that there's hundreds of different stats. And so you can go ahead and pick and choose to your heart's desire what you think benefits you and what you would like to add to report. So for example, let's say that, let's go ahead and click here, put a number average of players. You can go ahead and click here. Let's go ahead and 3-bet steals. Let's go ahead and just put in a bunch of 3-bet stats here. And what you'll notice is that it's going to start populating here. I'm just going to go ahead and just start adding stuff into here. And what you'll notice is that all the stats are in here. We can sort them. We can add some additional filters. It's really up to us. But by doing this, we get our own specific reports. And once we save a report, it should pop up in here once it's saved. And so let me go ahead and save that. And so now my new report is in here and it's automatically saved, and it's a great feature. And if I want to clear the filters and I click here and clear them, then it's going to go ahead and it's going to, let me go ahead and take tenon out of here and do all stakes. It's going to go ahead and provide me my report here as well. Now we can go ahead and look at leak tracker as well. Let's go ahead and do a leak analysis, and let's do a leak analysis for we'll do a 5NL leak analysis on here. So what I'm going to do here, and the way that it works, is that what I'll do is I'm going to click Run Analysis, and so this is going to run an analysis and start analyzing my hands that I played at 5NL, and it's going to tell me how well it thinks I played hands. And what you'll notice is that you'll see this little bar here, you see stats, and anywhere where it's in the green it means that you're doing well. Anywhere that it's a little bit low, like for example here, it says that my turn aggression factor is a bit low. And so what I'm going to do is pause the video, and I'll be back in a second once this is done running this analysis. Alright, so it's done running the analysis, and let's go ahead and take a look at the stats. So let's go ahead and take a look at my BPIP. So by doing that, I clicked here. It tells me my overall value, so my overall BPIP over a sample size of roughly almost 59,000 hands. It gives it a good determination. So what it's saying here is that I'm at a 19% VPIP, and overall it's good, and so I fall within the range of what a good players would be. Now let's go ahead and look at my turn aggression factor, because it says that it's pretty low. And so it tells you right here, here's my turn aggression factor value, and it needs improvement. And now I can click here and watch a video on the stats. So it tells you, it's going to give you some details on how you can improve that. And what you can do is you can go down, you can click on all different stats and look at, you know, where they are and if they need improvement. You can go ahead and click at them and look at the details in the small blind, the big blind, and you can do positional stats. So this is a really great feature. Not only do you get overall, but you get it for each particular position at the table as well. Oddly enough, it's not showing under the gun, but you know what? Overall, I think it's a great feature. This is the basic leak finder in here. I believe there is a premium add-on that you can do as well, but for those of you that are paying $60, this is a great way for you to analyze your game off the table and really improve it. Now, if we click on the statistics here, this is pretty much the same thing as reports. It is a report, but it's already broken it down into by positions, and it's going to give you the different hands. And so, for example, you know, I can look at all my basic stats here and scroll over and look at the details on a positional point of view, and down here this is going to be the overall stats. We can also look at our hand, so I can load the most recent 1,000 hands. I can specify a number of hands. I can load all of them, which I'm definitely not going to load over 100,000 hands. But if I wanted to load the most recent 500, I could do that as well. And for example, right, I do have this quick filter. So if we want to look at this quick filter here, we can go ahead and do that as well and tell to load all the hands. And of course, this is a 10L filter, so let's go ahead and let that load. And so we can go ahead, if I wanted to load up this filter here for the 3-bet pots with aces, kings, or ace kings, I can look at how I did. Click on a hand and look at the details, or go ahead and replay it. So now let's go ahead and talk about the HUD itself. There are some other features in here. You can manage your database. There's some other stuff in here for note tracking. There's an ICM calculator, an equity calculator as well. And there's a table tracker. I've never used that simply because I don't really use the HUD. I pretty much just use this for the database itself. But if you want to go ahead and edit the HUD or profiles, create your own profiles, or edit the options, you can do that in here. So let's go ahead and click on Edit HUD Profiles. Now you can go ahead and edit the ones that are in there. And for example, if you want to edit the default cache one, what you can do is you can go and tweak and move things around. For example, it's designed to be drag and drop. So for example, if I wanted to add something here, I can add a HUD stat in here. And let's say, for example, I wanted to add 4-bet plus on the flop. I can go ahead and add that there. And it's going to give you a visualization of what it thinks you look like, what it's going to look like here while you're playing. And then you can tweak a lot of the settings in here. You can tweak the background color, the foreground color, the font information. So it's really up to you. It's really customizable. You can go ahead and add whatever you want, and you can have multiple different lines on here of information. It has player stats, table stats, and it's really up to you. I really haven't gotten into details of how this works and what you can add, but from what you can see here, if we click here and we click add, let me go ahead and add a horizontal separator line, and then let's add a new line underneath it. And let's go ahead and add a statistic. And so if you wanted to search for a HUD stat, so for example, I wanted to type in 3-bet stats, you can start typing in here and search for it and look for the stat that you're looking at. For example, if you're looking for something that called a 3-bet plus pre-flop, you can go ahead and click that as well. So you don't always just have to click in here and drill down. If you have an idea of what you're looking for, but you're not 100% sure, you go ahead and just type it in, and it's going to go ahead and start looking for you based upon what matches your query. So, that's the basic editor here. Actually, I shouldn't say it's basic because it's anything but basic. It's very advanced, and you can arrange it and do all sorts of tweakings here. You can do all sorts of additional tweaks here as well. And you can do it down here as well. So, and it looks like you can tweak the pop-up as well. You notice that there was the pop-up that I did. You can adjust that here. And it looks like you can tweak the positional pop-up as well. So this is a very powerful HUD. Not only is it a powerful database, but it's a very powerful HUD, and I think it's really great. So let me go ahead and cancel out of here. If you wanted to apply it, you could just hit apply. And so that's going to conclude my basic review and overview of Poker Tracker 4. Like I said, I think it's a great tool. I think it's a great HUD. In regards to just having it as a database to do analysis off the table, if you're on a site such as Bovada or Bodog, I think that it's worth its money alone because you can go ahead and do your leak tracking. You can look at your statistics and your results based upon filters that you can do as well to see how well you're playing at the table. If you have any questions about Poker Tracker 4, you can definitely ask them in the comments section on YouTube. I'll try to answer them. I'm not a pro on Poker Tracker 4, but I do know how to do the basics. Overall, I think this is a great buy. I think that if you play on any sites that support Poker Tracker 4, I definitely recommend it. One thing that I forgot to mention that I do really like about this is that it doesn't really slow down your system once you get a high volume of hands. So, for example, Hold'em Manager 2 tends to be a bit clunky once you have a very high number of hands in your database. I've noticed it at around 30,000 to 50,000 hands. I don't know if it's because I have an older system that's several years old, but on the same system, I have Poker Tracker here for up and running with other applications in the background. I have roughly over 100,000 hands and it's running just fine. So it's a lot less resource intensive than the other alternative being Hold'em Manager 2. But on the flip side, Hold'em Manager 2 tends to be more user friendly in regards to its interface. So it's a bit of a give and take. So that'll go ahead and conclude my overview and review on Poker Tracker 4. Definitely hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please register and subscribe on MicroGrinder.com on our forum and also on our YouTube channel. And we'll see you at the next video. Thanks for watching. It's been Alton from MicroGrinder.com.